Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hall Family of Wines Happy Hour. We missed you last Friday, but we thought with the July 4th weekend, it was better to let you just enjoy the holiday on your own. Catherine O'Hara is going to be with us on July 24th. So this is our Member Appreciation Week, a time when we want to say a special thank you. And so I want to do a shout out to all of you who are with us now, who are on the BACA list or club members for Hall and Walt. Thank you. Thank you for being part of our club, and we want you to know how much we value you. As a way to say thank you, we have some special promotions for you, members only, that you can find about when you check us out online. So check out our websites and you'll see what I'm talking about. We have a really special guest today. I am so excited about this. This is a man we have known for years through movies and television, and most recently as Jay Pritchett on Modern Family. Those of you who are closer to my age know him and love him as Bundy on Married with Children. So anyway, it's just a really special treat to be able to have him on, and Ed is going to join us. Ed O'Neill is going to join us in just a couple minutes. First, I'd like to bring on some club members, some wonderful club members that we have, and let's see what's on their minds. So Zach and Meryl Hall. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, now no relation, but I'll just call you virtual children. Welcome.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Behind your back, we're always calling you our aunt every time we open a bottle.
I love it.
So yeah, so thank you for creating something so beautiful that we can not feel so guilty about drinking every day.
Well, I love that. Thank you. So you're in Phoenix, right?
Yes, this time of year we don't brag about that.
Well, it's hot. I'm sitting here drinking a rosé from Walt, and it looks to me like you've got some red wine in your glass. What is that?
We figured this was only fitting that on a time like this we'd bring out the Catherine.
The good stuff.
Yes, happily.
Hey, well, cheers to you.
Thank you. Cheers. We were actually cheers and drink.
Yeah, we had to do that.
We were actually gifted a bottle. Our very first bottle was gifted to us for our wedding about 2.5 years ago from some friends in Sacramento. So we returned onto the Hall wine. We went up there for my birthday last year and had just the best time and became members. And we love our quarterly shipments. We're still trying ones we've not had before, but it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty amazing how wines, the same varietal, like a Cabernet, which is probably mostly what you have in your collection now, from us anyway.
Yes.
How it changes with different terroir from vineyard to vineyard. Yeah. Are there any that are, well, aside from the Catherine Hall, which by the way, I'm at my house right now, and this is the vineyard behind me. That's Sacrochet.
Gorgeous. Well, we were told we were there.
That's real? That's not a green screen? That's real?
It's not. No. I'm home. This is it.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
So we were there in November and we just saw it. It was like mustard season, or what do they call it?
Oh, where everything's like yellow and orange.
So it's cool to see it green and lush. Yeah. But we love the core. It has become one of our favorites in our house. And then the one with the farmhouse? We just got that one our last shipment.
Oh, the Bergfeld. Oh, so you love that. Those are both very similar in the sense that they're valley floor. They're really lush and plush. Yeah.
So we're all in, and it's funny because we share the same last name. So when I share like on Instagram or like even when doing the Facebook stuff through quarantine, I always like to share it. And people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you had a wine. I was like, me neither. But we've been gifting. We gifted hats to my sister. And then we gifted a bottle. It's just so fun now because we can play along with the last name. And I'm glad she said yes and joined the Hall family, but also thank you for allowing us to be a part of it too.
Well,
it's cool.
Thank you both so much. It's just, it's wonderful to have you in the club. I love the memories that the wine is a part of. I hope.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
glad to hear that. And I'm looking forward to when you can come out and visit us.
We
here
do
in
too. We
Napa.
look forward to bringing friends. And when you talk to Ed O'Neill, tell him when I was growing up, Little Giants was the jam. I loved it so much. So being a part of this is even cooler just because, with Modern Family fame, and you talked about Married with Children, but for me it was Little Giants. And it's crazy how life works because our last name, because of the wine, and now here we are. This is pretty awesome.
I love it. Well, it's poetry. Yeah. Here's to you all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
We look forward to
so
seeing you at the
much.
winery soon.
Thank you, Meryl. Thank you, Zach. Good
Cheers.
luck. Yeah,
Thank you so much. We
cheers.
look forward to it.
Appreciate you.
And keep doing what you're doing. We can't wait to see what comes out next.
Hey, thanks. So, thank you to all of you who are our club members. We really do. We appreciate you. We obviously couldn't have everybody on today, but I'm so glad, Zach and Meryl, that you would make the time and come on and say a few words. And I love your connection with our next guest. So, it is so exciting for me to get to introduce our next guest. We all know him so well from a distance. We have seen him in movies. We've seen him on TV. Well, I was a big fan of Married with Children, and now I love Modern Family. And he's just done so many things that give us joy over the years. So he is a former social studies teacher. He is a practicing jiu-jitsuer. I'm not sure what that word is supposed to be. And he is just an amazing person. So here is my great pleasure to bring on our very special guest, Ed O'Neill.
Thank you. Thank you,
Hello,
Captain. Nice to
Ed.
be here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I am so, oh, you don't have any wine. Do you? There's a wine. Do you have some rosé there?
Yes.
You do.
Looks lovely.
Thank you. Well, cheers to you.
Yep.
So you're in Hawaii right now, right?
I'm at my house in Hawaii on the Big Island on the Hualalai on the Four Seasons property. Yeah. Been here since March.
Oh, so you got in before the quarantine
It was just
started.
Starting. Yeah. But I got in before.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually just hearing some news that the right now, for those of you who may not be following what's going on in Hawaii, I think the Hawaii has been closed to anybody up until August 1, and now they are talking about extending. Is that right, Ed?
Well, I haven't heard that, but I'm not going to be surprised. We were talking about it yesterday that they would probably extend it, which they're very, very good here about that stuff. They enjoy keeping Hawaii safe. And I wish more people around the country would be doing a little. I know it's impossible we're an island, but still, this is no joke.
No, it's not. And honestly, I think it takes an amazing amount of discipline on the part of the people of Hawaii and the governor in particular to be doing this, because it's an island that depends on tourism, and basically tourism is shut down.
That's true. It's true. And but so far it's been great. We're very lucky to be at a place like this.
It is.
So,
yes, you are. I will drink
crossed.
to that. Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, that's a good thing to be doing when it's like that. So this is our 2019 rosé from our Walt brand. It's rosé that's made from Pinot Noir. So it's really light. It's got these sort of, for me, the flavors tend to be more watermelon-y, a little bit more maybe strawberry, but it's a very light wine. And actually, I think you are more of a red wine drinker, but
traditionally for me, it's always been reds. I've been, I like Rhone, I like Grenache, I like Burgundy, I like cabs. Obviously, your cabs.
Yeah, good.
Are about as good as a cab can get.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. So
yeah, and not just one. You've got like 10 that are Amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, Ed, I know our viewers, as well as I, would just love to be able to get to know a little more about you. And so what I put together, I
So
thought.
would I.
Okay. So, well, maybe this exercise is going to help. So what I
Maybe
have,
so. Some type of therapy.
yeah. So right here on camera, it's so good. Yes, you're gonna love it. So what we're gonna do, if you are willing, is I'm just gonna ask you a series of some rapid fire questions, and
Sure.
we'll go with it. All right, here we go. What character that you've played are you most similar to in real life?
Oh my God. You know, that's kind of a tough question because, well, all actors are a bit different. You know, some methods, some, you know, work different ways. But you basically have to use yourself, you know, every time out because who else is there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of me, at least a little bit in everything I've ever played. And yeah, so it's, you know, it's very hard to say which one. I've done so many. I told somebody the other day I played so many police officers I should get a pension. But yeah.
Or at least get a pass if you get stopped for speeding or something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to say there's a lot more Al Bundy than me than I'd like to admit. You know.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah, it was just sort of from when I grew up. You know, was that sort of working class sense of humor, kind of self-deprecating sense of humor, expecting the worst and usually getting it. You know. So yeah, that one was fun to play, and Jay Pritchett too. You know, those two most recent ones.
Yeah.
But I've had some that I did the David Milch series. You know, when I did Big Apple, I played a Irish American cop from Queens named Michael, like Mooney. I like that character a lot.
Yeah.
And then I did John from Cincinnati down in San Diego. You know.
Yeah.
That island off the Coronado on Coronado Island.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I played a retired homicide cop from New York, Bill something. I like that.
Bill something.
His last name was, I can't remember his last name, but it was a good character.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all these things are fun. You know, it's always fun to play these characters because you sometimes you just never quite know what's going to bubble up. You know. It's kind of it can be kind of magical in a funny way, you know. Some things like subconscious things, you know, can help you sometimes with a character.
Oh, how wonderful! All right, next question: who has been your easiest wife to deal with? You know, you can throw in a real one too if you want, but.
The easiest wife to deal with. Well, I mean, I've had two major, you know, two, Katie Seagal, of course, and Sofia Vergara, two amazing women. And I'm very close with both of them. I'm still very close with Katie. Everybody in that show, you know, Christina Applegate, and who's also doing very well with her acting, and David Faustino, and, you know, everybody on the show. They were both had great senses of humor. Katie's quite a good singer. You know, I don't know if you knew she was a harlot with Bette Midler for years.
No.
Oh yeah, sang with Etta James and Dylan and a lot of, you know, very well-known singers. And Sophia is really smart and a heart of gold. You know, I mean, they're both great. I mean, I was really lucky with both of those women to have, for, you know, and to work with for so long. I don't think in 22 years, you know, 11 and 11, there was ever a cross word.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Lucky,
which is,
lucky
you know, somewhat rare.
Yeah. I have to say, I love Sophia on the reaction. I just love the way, I don't know what you call it.
Have you seen her on America Has Talent? Is that the show?
No,
America's Got Talent.
no. I know of the show, but I actually haven't watched it.
She's one of the new judges, and she's probably the best one they've ever had. I mean, she's just a natural. She's just perfect for that sort of thing. If she goes on Ellen DeGeneres, she's always hilariously funny. She's very natural, and she's not self-conscious, Yeah, she's
Confident.
you'd love her.
Yeah.
You'd really love her. She loves
I'm
wine.
sure. Okay.
She loves wine. I tell you one thing I'll say about her. A woman said one time, I was standing with her, a woman came up to her and said, "What can I do?" Because I go to the gym every day, but what can I do to look a little bit more like you? And she said, "Nothing. It's genetic." And she said, "You don't work out?" And she said, "I drink wine and I dance."
Hello. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's genetic,
Yeah, those are some good genes, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What career did your parents expect you to have?
Well, my dad thought, for a while I was going to be football. I was a rookie with the Steelers in '69, Chuck Noll's first year. I was a rookie with Joe Green and all those guys that nobody probably even remembers now. But so it was going to be football. Yeah, you remember, Catherine? Well,
sure.
So it was going to be football.
Uh-huh.
And then when that ended, I didn't have a clue. But I had done some acting in high school. And, I mean, I don't know. I guess I was the kind of kid, I used to go to the local movie theater. It was called the Belmont Theater in Youngstown. It was like 10 cents, to get in. And I used to go all the time and watch movies. And then when I would go back in the neighborhood and tell my friends about the movies, oftentimes, they would go see it and they'd come back and say, "It wasn't as good as the one you told us about." So I was always acting these things out, and I had uncles through marriage who were great storytellers when I was a young boy, and I used to listen to them. And I think that's where I learned how to tell a story, which is, as you know, a good storyteller has to edit as they go. And you kind of get to the punchline or get to the joke or get to the point. And so I think acting, you need to incorporate a lot of storytelling ability in the method of it.
It's great. It's art. Okay. Let me see. I know you practice jiu-jitsu. I would say show us a jiu-jitsu move, or something. Will you say something about jiu-jitsu? How does it?
Well, comes from the Japanese. It was a martial art in Japan for, I don't know how many hundreds of years. And I came to it by way of Brazil because without getting into a long story, there was a fellow who ended up in Brazil who had been a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and a family befriended him and took him in and kind of took care of him. His name was Count Como, this guy, and it was the Gracie family, which is a Scottish name, but that was way back. They're Brazilian, they're from the mouth of the Amazon. But he taught the boys jiu-jitsu, and then they taught their sons, and then it's became a dynasty. And I got involved with it in Torrance, California, through my friend John Milius. And John Milius wrote Apocalypse Now. He wrote Big Wednesday, which was an iconic surf movie.
Yeah.
The Wind and the Lion with Sean Connery. Many, many, many movies. So John got me involved with Jorge and Gracie and them. And then let's see. So I've been doing it 35 years.
And do you do it every day?
No,
Is it?
I haven't done it now sadly, in like a couple of years, because some of my old football injuries have kind of, I had a bulging disc and then a knee problem, and you really can't do much if you have a bad knee and a bulging disc in your back. So, but now I think I'm pretty much ready to go back and start some light training with it. Yeah, because it's a lot of fun. And you know, women are very good at jiu-jitsu. Women learn it better and quicker than men. And I think it's because they don't have the natural strength that a man does.
Mm-hmm.
So they learn the techniques a lot better. And it's really all about the techniques and the hips. Yeah.
And it's sort of reactive. I took, what do you call it? Tai Chi for a
Yeah.
while, which is, I mean, I think more flowing, I think, but it was so much about just moving the energy back. And
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu is basically ground fighting. So it's, you know, with the idea that most street fights will end up on the ground before they end. So if you're a ground fighting expert and you go to the ground with, say, a guy who's a very good striker, once he's on the ground, you know, he doesn't know too much, you know. So that's when you know, it's positioning and then controlling and then submitting with chokes or arm locks or that sort of thing. I heard one great jiu-jitsu guy say, his name was Hickson Gracie. They said, "Would you fight a great white shark?" He said, "Of course." They said, "But how?" He said, "Well, the first thing I would do is drain the pool." So it's the idea is to make the other guy fight your fight. You know, don't try to fight their fight.
oh, that's great. Okay, one last question.
Sure.
So this is, what's the last great meal that you had, and what wine did you have with it?
You know, I'll tell you something, Catherine. I'm not a good drinker of wine with food. And that's I don't know what that is. I have done it. I've made myself do it. I'm more inclined to like drink 3 glasses of wine and then eat.
And then
Or
what do you drink with the meal?
Save a half a glass for the steak or the chops or with the red wine, you know. Yeah, I like to drink it. You know, I had an uncle that used to go to wedding receptions and all he would do was drink and he wouldn't eat. And they'd say, "Oh, there's food." He said, "It ruins my high." And so, but I like to cook.
Yeah.
I really, and I'm not, I mean, I'm like a short order cook, you know, I'm not a chef, but I like to make Italian as I grew up with Italians. So I can make good pasta. I can make good, you know, simple stuff, you know, matriciani, you know, this, you know, onions and bacon and sauce and pastas, you know, stuff like that. I make a hell of a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Hey. Well, I can certainly tell you that pasta.
That's what the Zin's for.
The Zin, exactly. Okay. Now, we're going to go on to we need to go on to our second wine, our next wine, if you're okay with that. And that is the Zinfandel.
Oh, give me. You want to hand it to me?
I'm going to hand you this.
Oh, okay.
Here's the bottle.
Okay.
This is our Baca Zin.
Yep. There we go. Hey.
Oh, the magic of the internet.
Zinfandel, beautiful. I told you earlier I grew up on this wine.
It is. This is actually, I love this wine because this is actually it comes from Mendocino. And and cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
This is a very nice Zinfandel, I think. And it comes from
that's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the things we were talking about stories just now and the importance of stories, they're so important, I think, in terms of how wine is made as well. And we have this picture of this vineyard. This comes from the Piccini family vineyard. And there's several things that I just love about this. And one of them is the story, the great grandson of the fellow who planted this vineyard just bought it back. And he has brought it. Yeah, isn't that great? Bought it back.
Are those old vines?
Those are over 100 years old.
Yeah, old vines.
Yeah, and that's
all the old Italians were in Napa years ago. The old farmers, they were all Italians, right?
Exactly. This is actually up in Mendocino, and Italians up there as well. Absolutely.
Well, you know
that he uses is all sustainable farming, and he uses. Can you see those sheep? There, he uses sheep to mow it down. Yeah.
Well, you know that one Italian family, they call it the black chicken. You know that story.
No.
The black chicken?
No. What's the story?
Well, you know, years ago, they had the party lines. You know, everybody talked on a party line.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know what I mean? So people could
Sure.
listen in, and they had to share phones.
Yeah.
I think during the Depression, or, you know, when wine was illegal,
Mhm.
name in a second,
Yeah. Oh,
they made wine, you know, and of course they had a grocery store. And when people would call in, make their order, they would 2 dozen eggs, farmers, you know, milk, bread, some piece of meat or cheese of some kind. And they'd say, and give me 3 or 4 black chickens. And the black chicken was the Zinfandel.
oh.
So because it was illegal, you know, so they'd come to
Sure.
pick it up and they'd have the bottles in the bag, you know, and they called it black chicken.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's
My
a
dad
Napa.
used
It's a Napa family.
really, really.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check on it. So my
Yeah.
dad used to have this a wonderful friend. He's gone now. His name was John Parducci, and he was Italian. He grew grapes. He was part of, anyway, the heritage really of California, and in particular Zinfandel. And when he was a boy, his family sent him back to the East Coast selling grapes that he would put in a vat. That in those days it was sold for sacramental wine. That's what they called it.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So it's
For the
that
priests.
sort of thing. Yeah, for the priests. That would be the thing. So here's to the priests who made the Zinfandel so popular. So anyway, so this is, I think that what he does, the effect of this sort of sustainable farming, low yield, old vine grapes, these are really heritage grapes, as I was saying, so old,
Yeah.
is that it creates this wine that's really, it's powerful. It's got a lot of black fruit, a lot of fruitiness in it, like you want from a Zinfandel.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think it really has some elegance to it. So
I think it might have been A. Raffinelli. Was it A. Raffinelli? Does that strike
oh
you?
yeah, I know that name. Yeah, but I don't know.
There's another one I might be confusing that with. I think Raffinelli might sell the black chicken.
Oh.
They actually still sell it as that, you know. It's pretty, you know, it's like they get a lot of mileage out of that story, you know.
Yeah, how fun is that? Now you know that there's a lot of people now who are quickly Googling to see, you know, black chicken and
Black
magic.
chicken, yeah. And by the way, it's a good Zin.
Yeah, good.
You know, I remember Dave Finney, and I told you again, we talked a little before about the 8 years in the desert. He made a Zinfandel, his latest wine. And that was because he was 8 years away from Zinfandel. You know, he started out with making Zinfandel. That was how he got famous. And he said that grape, now, you know, that's from Croatia. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do know that.
They recently found that out, I was told.
Yeah. It was Gergich, who has Gergich Cellars. He's a Croatian.
Oh, yes.
And he's the one that did the research. I mean, he literally devoted a big part of his life to
Oh, I didn't know he did
proving that. Yeah.
Well, that Finney said that the Zin grape, if you get it right, because it's hard to get it right, apparently, you know, to get it maybe like a Pinot, I don't know, but he said if you do, the reward is very, very good.
That's true. Thin-skinned. It's right. It is. It's hard. You know, actually, I was really excited the first time I went to Croatia to try their Zinfandel, thinking, you know, here's the mothership. And it's not that good. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody.
But what do they call it over there? They don't call it Zinfandel. They call it something else.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's a very different take on the grape. It's very light. It doesn't have the body that the California Zins do. You know?
Well, it used to be pink. And they used to sell the pink and even the white, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, listen, let me tell you about that. My dad, that literally kept our family afloat. That it used to be called white Zin, but it was pink. And in those days, it was like a godsend to the farmers because you could grow so much more of the Zin that was cropped for white Zinfandel than you could for red Zinfandel, and the price was really high in those days. So I have a fondness in my heart for white Zin. Even if I don't like it too much to do.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so I have another game.
Sure.
Okay. So here is this. It's been rumored that you have had some difficulty from time to time, maybe recognizing celebrities.
Yeah, I know where this is going. You
So-
know what it is. In my defense, I used to say, when you see a celebrity in the real world, oftentimes they don't look like they do in the movies, or, like the one that comes to mind, of course, is, I don't know if you want to hold that one.
Who is that? Did you just say? I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was at LAX I was coming here to Hawaii,
Oh,
and I was
know
traveling.
who you're going to say. I love this story.
So I was traveling by myself, and I had this stupid stocking cap on. I actually wasn't wearing it. I was in the first class lounge, and I was waiting to be called to board. And they came and said, they're boarding. Do you want to go now? I said, yeah, I'd like to go now. And then I saw this woman like standing off to the side with another woman. They were looking at me. And I thought, oh God, I'm in a hurry now. I got to go. But she came over to me and she said, oh, Mr. O'Neill, I love your show. And you're my favorite character on the show. And I said, I'm the only one here. And she said, if I could just get a picture, just one picture. And I said, sure, okay, fine. And I was in this big stuffed chair with arms on it, So I said, here, sit on the. She wanted to sit on my lap, and I don't like you. You kind of don't want to get into that,
No.
So I said, no, sit on the arm of the chair. That's fine. So I put my arm, around her shoulder. Picture. Oh, and then I put the hat on, but it was like an elf. It went sideways. So the other woman took the picture, and she said, thank you so much, and bye, So I got on the plane, and that was it. So then the next day, my manager sent me this photo of this woman. And he said, what is this? And I looked at it, and it was like 83,000 likes or something, I said, I don't have a clue. And it was Britney Spears. Yeah. But she wasn't, the only time I ever saw Britney Spears, she was dancing, she was in the makeup, the beautiful hair.
Yeah.
And she was just traveling. So can be probably excused.
I don't know,
happened to
Ed.
me with Taylor Swift. I met at a party and didn't know who she was. I mean, I knew she was famous. I knew she was a singer, but I couldn't think of her name. And I texted my daughter, who at the time was like 18.
Yeah.
And I said, who is this? And she texts back, oh my God in heaven. I'm going to put you in a home somewhere.
Taylor
Swift.
I just don't think I can give you a pass on those because Britney Spears looked pretty good in that picture.
Yeah. Oh no, she was a very nice looking woman. No, there's no question. But she wasn't the way I was used to seeing her. Is my defense.
Okay.
I mean, I saw her with that little schoolgirl thing when she came out, and she was quite sexy. Being sexy, dancing. She was just like a normal person. So it didn't connect. But apparently that's obviously somewhat my problem too.
Well, I don't. Well,
I
anyway,
don't
we're
really-
going to test. We're going to test your problem,
Oh,
and
okay.
right now. And this is.
I'm sure I'll do better now.
Oh, I'm sure. And so this game, we like to call it Stumped Ed, wine country style.
Okay.
And so what I have is some pictures of people drinking wine. Some are celebrities, and some of our employees at the winery. And your job, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to identify if they're celebrities, identify the celebrities, and if they're not, then
just say they're employees.
They're our employees. Now, the stakes are very high on this because every time you are wrong, you have to take a sip of wine.
Okay.
Okay. And every
I'll go
time
with
you're
the
right, I have to take a sip of wine.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. Here we go. Here's our first picture.
All right, I know that guy. That's a celebrity, comedian, legend. Martin
Warmer,
Short.
warmer.
Martin Short.
Yes. Okay. Here's to you.
I have a feeling these might be getting tougher.
Oh, I don't know. Next.
Okay. I think the woman in the orange, the red. She's an actress, right? That's not Kathy Ireland.
Nope. Nope.
All right.
Another
I'm wrong.
glass, monsieur.
All right, who is it?
That's Natalie Morales from the Today Show on NBC.
I wouldn't have got the name. I know the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next. Did you take it? You got a sip. Okay. I think you're going to have to fill that glass in a little while. Okay. Here's another.
Well, that's Mr. Stallone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. He put some of our wine. We didn't even know it. That's a case of our wine. We didn't know it. He was going to use it in Creed. So.
Oh, I thought he was stealing it.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to pour myself some more water, some more wine, because you are doing better than I thought. Okay, next.
Okay, I'm going to say that's an employee.
You got it.
And she's a beautiful employee, I might add.
That's my daughter, and she runs the
That's
rig.
your daughter?
Yeah. So
What's
she
her
runs
first name?
Baca, which makes this Zinfandel. So
Well, she's a beautiful girl.
yeah, pretty good.
She
That's
could be a
me.
celebrity.
That's me to drink.
I think, I don't know what it was. I think the wine gave it away. I thought, she has
Okay.
something to do with this. And that's an employer too. That's an employee too.
Oh, get ready to drink, Ed. This is Ari, who was on The Bachelor, which I'm sure is a TV show
For
you
God's
watch.
sake, that's
all
my
the time.
daughter's favorite show.
Okay. Did you have a sip? Just checking on you.
Let me get some of this instead. All right. There.
Okay. Next.
Well, she's a celebrity. Didn't I do her talk show a couple of times? Maybe not. Wait a minute. Well, I know that's the Paley Awards, so I've been there. She have her own talk show?
I don't know.
No hint. Okay.
No hints. No hints from moi.
I should know her, but I'm blanking on her name.
Okay. Take a drink. You should. Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh my God. Well,
She's
now
amazing.
that's not fair, because that's not a good picture of her. I mean, she's got the
Okay.
bottle up, hiding her chin. She's hiding her mouth with it. She's a wonderful singer, by the way.
Oh my gosh. And so versatile.
Broadway, phenomenal performer.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's one I can't even see her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Then you're just going to have to intuit.
All right, I'm going to say she's an employee.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers. Me. That's Marie Webster, my assistant. Okay. Oh, I just had to throw this one in.
Well, he's a friend of mine,
Come on.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon. Yeah,
Great.
that was easy.
Well, all right. They're not all hard. None of these are hard.
Now that's an actress. Wait a minute, because I was going to say she looks like. All right, then I'm going to say. I'm blanking here. I'm blanking. I'm going to say. All right, let me just take a wild guess. She's an employee.
No, she is not only an actress, but she was on Modern Family. For a couple times.
But maybe I didn't work with her. She may have been with the other two families. What's her name?
Mia Sorvino.
Oh, for God's sake. I worked with Mia on the show 4 or 5 times. I know her father. I'm a friend of her father, Paul.
Yeah.
But that doesn't look like Mia to me.
Oh, sure.
Mia's
Okay,
great.
take a drink.
Mia's great.
Yeah.
That's, oh God, now that's an employee.
Okay. Take a drink for me. And that was the last one. You are such a great sport.
How do you know Mia? Did Mia do this? Did she do
Mia,
your
no,
show?
Mia came up. We had a panel on women's issues, and Mia came up, and we were talking about a variety of things. It was actually right at the beginning of the Me Too movement.
Oh my God. I did a movie years ago with Al Pacino and Paul Sorvino in New York with Bill Friedkin directed it. It was called Cruising. It was quite a controversial movie. But that's where I met Paul in 1980, way before Mia came around. That was nice. That was fun.
It was very
I
fun
didn't
for
do
me.
too badly.
No, you didn't. You didn't. Actually, you did.
Well, some of them were very softball, I mean, Stallone, Matt
Yeah, okay.
Damon.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Fun. Okay. We have one more wine.
Sure.
So our last wine is, and I'm going to pass this. Oh, well, you've already got it.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, let me just see if I can pass you this bottle, because you know what? It's fun.
here.
Da-da. Yeah, and you
Wait.
got it.
All right. One day I'd get the hang of this.
I like it.
All right. So we're gonna open. I gotta open this one.
Okay, so while you open it, I'll just talk a bit about it. So this is a Cabernet, 2016 vintage,
Yes.
and it comes actually in part from this vineyard behind me. This is the vineyard that we make the Catherine Hall and the Excellence off of, but we also use this as the core for the 1873. So what you get in this wine is it's clearly mountain fruit. It's got a lot of density, and because of the influence, I think, of this vineyard, there's just a lot of earthiness on it. So anyway, see what you think. Have you got
Yeah.
Ooh, big nose on this. So.
Oh man, that's nice.
Mhm.
I mean, that's really good wine.
It's big.
It's big,
Mhm.
but it's good. I like a big wine, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do too, because I think the real trick for us here in Napa is we've got the California sun, we get the ripeness, we can make beautiful big wines, and the real challenge that differentiates the good from the great is sort of exercising restraint, so you can pull back a little bit on that.
Yeah.
So you can get the elegance that comes through.
I mean, I don't know anything about making wine, but I know it's an art to make it well. I mean, really, it really is. I don't know, I mean, do you put it, like, do you put it in barrels, right? Are the barrels underground, or are they in a cave somewhere, or what do you do with them?
They're in a cave. So
Yeah,
we
that's what I
age
thought.
we age the wine. Yeah, actually, we make some of our wine. We actually will ferment in oak, but most of it not. But we will age it all except one of the wines we make. We age in oak. And by the way, interestingly, to me, we only age in French oak. We have tried American oak, because it's a lot less expensive, and Hungarian oak and a bunch of others. But there really seems to be no oak that has the finesse, that doesn't interfere with the grapes.
That's interesting. You often hear in great barbecue guys, they'll use mesquite wood, or they'll use apple wood, or they'll use different types of woods. But if you look into it, it's usually the wood that is in their backyards.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they go out and get this wood because it's so great. It's what they have to work with. You know, and they make it great. Now, that's probably not true with wine because there aren't that many wooden. I mean, there's oak, there's French oak, and there's metal, I suppose, and then there's another wood.
Actually, I mean, and fermenting in stainless steel is,
Yeah.
and in concrete. We do all of those for different wines, but they all have their advantages. You know, you can just get a little more uniformity in terms of fermentation and the heat control if you do it in concrete. In the stainless steel, you have absolutely no. It's going to be all about the grapes, so there's just no sort of impact from any other flavors. So it all just.
And Catherine, when
fun.
you're you know, going along and you're aging and you're tasting and you're deciding things, it's subjective, right? I mean, you have a lot of people testing, right? You can't just have one person, or you do have one or two, or you have a lot, and you get a certain kind of, you know, uniformity of opinion.
I love that question. It's actually, you know, you were talking about your acting and how, you know, you just things sort of bubble up and you sort of go with, there's a feel about acting. I can't remember your exact words, but that's the sort of the take I had as you were talking earlier. And for us, when you make a wine, there are certain protocols that you would want to follow. You want to have a certain amount of sweetness in the grape before you pick it. But
there's a certain amount of basics.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is this sort of what my dad used to say separates the men from the boys, what separates the great from the good. It's like, it's this intuition, and you just, it's a feel and it's
an experience.
Totally. It's experience related, but I think it's also talent related. I mean, I think there's a reason certain winemakers, just like our winemaker, Megan Gunderson, is just, she has just a finesse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You can't explain that.
No, you can't. And it's just,
you can't explain it. You know, like in what I do for a living, it's interesting because you have to be relaxed. You know, you have to know how to relax so that things can come to you. You know, if you're tense, you sometimes, you know, you won't listen properly, for example, because your mind is racing. What's my next line?
Right.
Meanwhile, you're not hearing what your partner's saying, which will enable you to react properly. You let what they're saying work on you. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of little, over the years, you have to kind of just sort of pick these things up, knowing when to pause, for example. You don't want to pause too much. You don't want to pause too little. You need to learn how to speak properly. You know, a lot of people don't really emphasize consonants, for example, vowel, placement of consonants, vowel shaping, all that stuff, which is basically communication. You know, clarity, for example, in speech. There's all that stuff in it. And I don't consider it an art form. I've always considered it.
You don't consider acting an art form?
I think that it occasionally can rise to what one would say would be art, but not that. I think it's a craft more than an art form. Well, who knows what art is anyway, you know, but yeah, it's, you know, I read a thing, I think it was Dostoevsky, Tolstoy. He wrote a book called What is Art? And it was very interesting because he basically said, if you have a feeling about something and you're able, and you want to communicate that feeling to someone else, if you are able to communicate that feeling you're having to somebody else, that's art. So by that definition, a child can be an artist if they do if they're doing a dance and they make you feel what they're feeling. That's right. That's sort of what it is. And then you can go to the ballet and see the Nutcracker with all the trimmings and go, You know what I mean?
And I Yeah.
It may not be art. It may not rise to that level, you know.
Oh, Ed, this has just been so fun. I have got to let you go. We've just gone way longer than I thought we could, but I think
Well, I got a million things to do here, you know.
Yeah.
No, listen, it's been a real pleasure, Catherine. I've really enjoyed it. And hey, if you're ever in Hualalai and you see me at the coffee shop,
can I come over and say
buy me
hi?
a coffee.
I'll come over. All right. I'll bring
Of
a bottle of
course.
wine at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just, Ed, it has just been a true joy. Thank you so very much for
Let
joining.
me tell you something. I've enjoyed it as much as you have. Certainly, maybe more. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this as much as I. It's just what an amazing artist, even though he doesn't think it's art, what an amazing human being, and how lucky we all were to have that conversation. So thank you so much to you, Ed O'Neill. Thank you also very much to Zach and Meryl, our club members, for joining us today. You guys are awesome. Thank you to all of our Baca Wine List and Paul and Wine Club members. You're great. Check out on the website. We've got some special promotions, actually, not just for our club members, for all of you. You guys, we are not going away. We'll be back on Monday on Instagram Live, and we've got fabulous shows lined up for you over the course of July. We've got Catherine O'Hara, we've got Julia Louise Dreyfus, we've got Tori Spelling. We've got so many more other wonderful programs for you. So to you all, thank you so very much for joining. Stay healthy and sip up.